Now, here's something we touched on last week. Milan president Paolo Scaroni, very critical of the Serie A. He said our Serie A has become a Serie B when compared with the other major European leagues. Serie A international TV rights collect €200 million a season, while the Premier League €2 billion a year. We are also losing ground compared to Spain and Germany. From foreign TV rights, La Liga collects €897 million per season. A boring and less exciting product is difficult to sell on the international market. I'll give you just one example. Milan Udinese last February ended with 45 minutes and 38 seconds of effective play from overall 97 minutes of the match. Fouls are the second most common cause of interruptions in international football at 14.8%. In Serie A, we reach over 15%, while in the Premier League, it's 12.5%. There are 27.6 fouls per game in Serie A, while in the Champions League, there are 25.2, and in the Premier League, 21.5. The numbers I've quoted are known to all Italian clubs. Then we ask ourselves why we haven't won a Champions League for 12 years and a phenomenon player has not come to us. Obviously, the phenomenon player goes to the Premier League, where the stage is worldwide. In Italy, the stage is only Italian. Alessandro Del Piero still with us. Ali, I'm interested to know.
Don Hutchinson been involved in this?
I saw all these percentages, decimal points.
I blame the Italians.
I blame the Italians always.
I blame Del Piero.
To be honest, it is a good person to blame for this. Yeah. He's going to have to answer something here. Ale, what's been the response to this in Italy, and what are your thoughts on what we've seen here from the Milan president?
Well, ciao guys. I think we need to blame, first of all, ourselves. And I'm talking about Italians, of course, because we made different mistakes during the past 12 years. We're talking about 12 years, but it's maybe more from my point of view, because what is the program in order to develop new talents and phenomenal players, like he said, is not the best. We're trying our best, but it's not the best. And we probably need to change something. And then there's many other things that to be honest, we already spoke in the past 3-4 weeks together, Let's talk about the stadium situation. This is a big, massive issue for us and for Italian clubs. And then on the other side, working a little bit different about our international interest. And this is something that, belongs to the manager, belongs to the clubs and to the La Lega. Everybody trying to make their own effort, of course, but we need to come a little bit more together in order to increase that value. And so it's a complex problem from my point of view. It's not, we cannot blame only, one thing or another things, only the clubs or only the federation or what happened in the industry now. Everybody's focused on the Premier League, of course, because they move well, and us after 2006, everything collapsed, to be honest, in terms of any point that we just touched.
It's not all negative. I've got my 2020 Euro mug with me today with my my green tea in it. And Italy won that, if I'm right in saying. Do you remember that?
They did.
Even though it was 2021, which is 2020. But I think perception's a great thing. Quality will always rise to the top, but perception is a fantastic mechanism. There's no doubt that there is a quality issue at the moment in Italy, across the board. That may change, has in the past. But there's definitely a perception issue with some of the leagues. For example, notwithstanding the Premier League, the Bundesliga, which is another product of ours here at ESPN, it packages itself, even though it might not have the biggest viewing figures, even though it might not have the biggest following, it packages itself in a very good way. The grounds are very compact, usually always full, there's always a great atmosphere, and that goes some way to wooing some average, sort of sitting on the fence, casual fans. The Premier League, back in the 90s, early 90s, went way out its way to market itself. But in particular, the then incumbent Sky Sports, who were kind of new onto the football landscape, they changed the game in England, as you know, the way that football was viewed, the way that this sport was viewed, the way that they broadcast it. Now, others have come along and, you know, there's different companies now, but back in the day, before the early 90s, when there wasn't a lot of money in the Premier League and there wasn't a great deal of difference, and players were going to Spain and players were going to Italy in the 70s and the 80s and blah, 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 and Germany and wherever, and they came along and they marketed this thing fantastically well. The product that they put out was way better than anything that had gone before. The visuals, the access, everything. And the Premier League jumped on that, and the perception across the world just grew. Now, we can argue about, you know, leagues and teams and qualities and blah, 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 but there's no doubt via the broadcasters at the time and the Premier League and Richard Scudamore, who was until recently the Premier League chief executive, did a magnificent job in selling this product. Nobody wants to see these huge stadiums that are half empty, and that's a big part of the problem as well.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.